Now on BBC Radio Berkshire, it's Mike Reed.
I'm looking forward to driving over the Hammersmith flyover and seeing a big sign up there next to Harry Hill that says the Ian Penfold Band. We'll be talking with Ian in a moment. He has hired Hammersmith Apollo for his birthday. His band are going to play there. I love it. It's great. It's a very English thing to do. It's 3:05, BBC Radio Berkshire. Ian Penfold's in the studio with me, IT consultant from Finch Hampstead. I'm telling him stuff he knows here. Living the dream for his big birthday this year. I thought it was £10,500. Turns out that's just the deposit. £22,000 to hire Hammersmith for one night. Wow, that is going some, isn't it?
It is indeed.
But you must be pretty confident that you could sell a few tickets.
Yes. I mean, there's a sensible plan sitting behind it. We've got 4 bands on, lots of people in the bands, lots of people very excited about playing there.
Yeah.
So it's actually a big team effort rather than just me trying to do it by myself.
So how did you pick the other groups to play?
A couple of them are local bands.
Yeah.
So my band, Hidden Agenda, we play at Jack's in Ascot a lot. And a couple of the bands have come in through that, people that I know from there. And then there's another band that's just a friend of a friend.
Yeah.
So they're all, there's no professionals involved. We're all sort of amateur function band type stuff.
But what a gig, though.
Has to be done.
What a gig. So you sold, 600 tickets so far?
Sold about 600 tickets.
So what do you need to break even? You need to sell 1,500, 1,500?
It's about 1,500 tickets, which coincidentally is the capacity downstairs. So if we can fill the stalls, then we're
You don't need people up in the ashtray upstairs anyway, do you? For goodness sake? Maybe the front row. Yeah.
We're talking about working with some charities and such like, and actually using that space sensibly, so that it's not empty as it were. But
the key is, as long as you're not out of pocket or too much out of pocket, then you've done it.
Believe me, this is nothing about trying to make some money.
Yeah. No.
It's about trying not to lose too much, actually.
It's living the dream, isn't it?
It is indeed, yes.
Because this is where you first saw Whitesnake, presumably with David Coverdale in 1981.
Yep, many years ago. It was the first concert I ever went to. So,
wow. I did a thing with them. They, so many different people did songs called Here I Go Again. The Hollies, Twiggy, Archibald and the Trolls, and Whitesnake. It's always a good question. All different songs, but all called Here I Go Again.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember the name of David's girlfriend. It was something like Pussy Galore or Kitten or something like that.
The American...
Some kitten...
Tawny
Kitten.
Tawny Kitten, there we go.
Tawny Kitten.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember coming back. I came back on the train with David and Tawny Kitten from Manchester. And it was a bit embarrassing because they were all over each other. And I sat there, concentrating on my cheese sandwich and my tea. And they were... they were sort of embracing wholeheartedly in the seat opposite me. So, but very good, yeah. I mean, I've got to say, I saw a program on TV, must have been 2 or 3 years ago, and of all those guys from that era, David looked fantastic.
He still looks good. I mean,
he looked very good.
Him 5 years ago or such.
Yeah.
He's still looking good and sounding good. So.
Very good. So I guess you're going to have to tip your hat to Whitesnake in your set. You must do.
It's soul, it's funk, it's a bit difficult. Actually, come to think of it, there is a Deep Purple track, Somewhere in the Evening. The funkiest track they ever did, this track called Getting Tighter, which is in the set Somewhere in the Evening. So yes, without thinking about it, I have.
Hush was quite funky, wasn't it?
Yeah, Hush.
Thought I heard you calling my name now. Yeah. That's quite a funky track. Yeah, great track as well, yeah. So what are you doing? What sort of tracks are you doing? What can the fans expect from the band Hidden Agenda? We have to say the band are called Hidden Agenda.
Hidden Agenda. It's all soul, it's disco, it's hot stuff, it's car wash. Le Freak will be in there somewhere. Pretty much anything that you can think of that came out of that era. Given that there's 4 bands there, we've kind of been doing the arranging of the set thing and making sure that everybody doesn't play the same same tracks. And so what's actually come out of that is pretty much a full evening of every track that you can ever think of that sits into that sort of era.
But as it's your gig, you can call the shots, and if they say we're doing this, you go, no, I'm the head honcho on this one. We're doing that one.
There's been a bit of trading going on. It's, I kind of tried not to do the really heavy-handed. It doesn't really work, I think, if we dictate too hard to the band. So we kind of muddled our way through it without upsetting too many people.
Are we getting the real rock soft stuff like Parliament, Tear the Roof Off the Sucker and stuff like that, or are we going down the Gap Band Oops Upside Your Head route?
Well, probably more the Oops Upside Your Head, actually. But there'll be something in there for everyone. I mean, not all the bands are exactly the same. We've kind of got bands that are kind of more commitment-y, bands that are more cheeky, as it were. So there's a bit of a range there.
Excellent stuff. So all the bands must be really looking forward to this.
It's yeah. There's a huge amount of excitement. I mean, I've been working closely with the bands now for 6, 9 months. Some of them, as it were, and there's a huge amount of excitement there. I mean,
and the big thing as well is the set list. What do you put in? What do you leave out? I mean, you've got, if you're chopping the bill, what are you giving yourself? 40 minutes?
Yeah, it was 45 minutes each.
Yeah.
And there's a finale lined up, so we're going to try and get all of the bands back on to play at the finale. And you're right, it was more difficult trying to work out what not to play rather than what to
because
play.
everyone wants to play something different. And,
yeah.
So what's the big favourite? What's your hot number? What's the number you feel this is the one? If we're ever going to get rebooked, genuinely, this is the song that's going to do it.
Probably Le Freak.
Yeah.
That sits in our set, and it's just such a lovely number, and it fits very comfortably with some of the things we're trying to do around the show as well. So.
Yeah, and you play bass, which is great. I mean, if you're playing funky stuff, a bass is a great funk instrument, isn't it? Really?
It is indeed. Yeah. And actually, yes, if you're gonna play bass, you may as well play it in this type of music, because obviously, given the starting off with the White Snake, you can see that my roots probably weren't in
exactly.
disco, but when I started playing. People love it. People get up and dance to it, and it's great stuff to play.
Yeah. Really. So do you play sort of slap bass stuff and get the old rhythm going there? Or?
I'd like to think I try a bit.
But what switched? I mean, if you're a White Snake fan and maybe Deep Purple fan, why did you suddenly go to the other stuff?
It was really. It was actually the film The Commitments that started it. In fact, that's what got me back into playing. So imagine The Commitments came out about 10 years ago. Just as I hit 40, that's when my midlife crisis kicked in, and that's when I formed the first band. So the first band was very, very much based around that sort of proper sort of Otis Redding type soul, and then really we just kind of drifted from there into more and more funky disco-y type tracks. Did
you play in the band when you were a kid, or did you not?
I kind of dabbled when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So there was probably a period of about 2 years when I played when I was a teenager. But then I hung it up and, as I say, literally waited for the midlife crisis to come around, and it was that and buy a motorbike, and it just seemed like a good idea.
So what did you buy? What was the bass you bought?
It was the first one I had was actually a Fender Precision.
Okay, it's weird. I wish I'd said that now. I was going to guess that. I was looking at some the other day in a shop in Denmark Street, and I thought, really,
and it was a lovely instrument. Yeah. I mean, it was. I'm left-handed as well, which never makes life easy, and I just happened to find.
Unless you get one of Hendrix's cast-offs or McCartney's cast-offs, or Phil Lynott. They're all left-handed.
But yes, indeed. Well, a lot of bass players are actually. I don't know. I don't know whether I just noticed, but you're right. You can't do bad being compared to some of those guys, can you?
No, absolutely not. Right, we'll talk some more in a moment. In the meantime, his White Snake, Is This Love? BBC Radio Berkshire, 20 minutes after 3, chatting with Ian Penfold about his band Hidden Agenda, playing the Hammersmith Apollo. We're just saying it's called something else now, the Inventum Apollo. It'll never catch on. We all know it's the Hammersmith Apollo. So it's clearly going to be a good one, and you're going to be doing all the pro stuff like the sound check.
Oh, yes.
The sound check in the afternoon, almost as good as the gig itself doing the sound check.
I spent a day, the guys that are doing the sound, they're really, really good. There's some guys based up in Birmingham, and I spent a day with them down there the other day watching Bowling for Soup set up and play. Right. And it was just the most fantastic thing, watching the whole day roll out. And the sound check will be just as exciting as and just the whole day, we'll be setting
Your
up
drummer will be taking the time and going, doom, 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 for about half an hour.
Actually, our drummer will be playing with his electronic drum kit, actually, and we will be trying to stop him.
Oh, really?
That's a bit of an in-joke, but actually he's probably listening, so he'll understand. But
brilliant. Say the sound check. And then there's your own backstage rider. You can give yourself your own backstage rider and make sure there's weird stuff backstage. The stuffed olives, the peanuts, the Smarties.
Which is a brilliant idea, except I think I have to pay for it if I do it.
So really cheap backstage
rider. It will actually
rider.
add to the
yeah, but you've got to do the whole thing. You've got to have a backstage rider.
We did look at all the changing rooms the other day, and there was a certain amount. Oh yeah, this is where we're going to be, and this is how we're going to set up and such like. And
how much access do they give you? Clearly, quite a bit up front.
They're very, very good, actually. I'd have to say, given the nature of the show, and there's probably a few people turn up at their door with crazy ideas. They've just been brilliant, the management team there. So amazing. Going back, it must be over a year, if not a year and a half, since I first went there. And I went and met the manager, and they showed me all the way around the venue. And they got to the end, and I said to the guy, do many people do this? And he just looked at me and said, a few of them try.
Oh.
And I thought, well, there we go. You just laid that down. This is going to
Yeah.
happen, as it were, and and it's happening. It's.
Have you thought about inviting David Coverdale as his the first gig you saw there?
Funny enough, I did write to Mickey Moody, who was the guitarist at the time. But actually, I took a slightly different tack because part of the reason why I'm doing it, and if people remember John Otway from old, he's a guy that's actually done a lot of similar events. So he booked the Albert Hall for his 60th birthday, and you probably remember he had a hit about 10 years ago. He suddenly set out to have a hit. So I went to him primarily, and I said, look, you've done a lot of this, why don't you give me a hand? And he's been brilliant as well, actually. So he's actually hosting the evening, and he will be joining us to play.
Do you have any songs that are downloadable?
There's a website out there which is www.hidden-agenda.info, which has got some tracks on it. So there is some music.
I was just thinking, if you've got all 1,500 people to download that night, you could have a small hit.
Yes, so indeed, it doesn't take that much these days. Yeah, that's exactly what.
You could creep in at number 70 or something. Yeah,
that would be something, actually, wouldn't it? Yes.
Yeah, just say all download now as part of the deal.
Yeah.
Free chalk ice for every download.
Yeah, no, may well still happen. Yeah.
Excellent. Are you in any way nervous or apprehensive, or is it just, I'm really pleased I did this, let's go for it?
I think at the moment I'm probably too busy to be nervous. It's almost like having another full-time job. Clearly I work for a living during the day, but pretty much as soon as I get home, there is something to be done to do it. So I'm just so busy running through it. But actually, we all felt it. Last Sunday, we actually booked out a sports hall that was the same size. We have played in some very small corners. It took a sports hall to get something the size of the Hammersmith, and we laid out all the gear because we just wanted to get a bit of feel for it.
Yeah.
And we played the opening sequence, and we played the first number, and actually everybody said afterwards, they said, just doing that just felt really, it was kind of like, wow, this is actually going to happen. One day we're going to be doing it on that stage this big.
Difficult to get the sound, though, because without the audience in, you do the sound check, that's good. When you get an audience in, suddenly it deadens the sound.
Yes, and actually, and of course, that's the point when it's really, really happening as well. It's exciting enough as it is. I was saying in the break, it was exciting enough getting up on the stage for the first time and just being where all those people had played in an empty hall. That was pretty exciting. So what's it going to be like when there's an audience in there?
So what do your family think about it? Does your wife think you're utter loony? Does she think, what are you doing? You're mad. Or is she completely behind it?
She couldn't have been more supportive. So
That's good, isn't it?
She's actually doing all the ticketing. So I've got Janet's in charge of the ticketing, and she's doing a great job. I've got my sister Kim, who's doing a lot of the marketing bits and pieces. She's been chasing around the press and such like. So it is a bit of a family affair, is it?
Have you got someone doing the chalk ices? Have you got one of your family,
not
going
yet.
around with the chalk ices?
Not yet. Maybe I'll get my daughter to do that.
Programs?
Yeah. We started talking about programs. There will be programs there.
Hidden Agenda merchandise?
Is available on the website.
Oh, it's got to be there on the night, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, the economics of doing that is a bit tricky, actually, because I have to
come out at the interval and sign for everybody.
Yeah, but
all the people that know you.
Yeah, no, but we've already got we've actually got T-shirts specific to the event, which are already on the event website. So.
And you have to do at the end. Ladies and gentlemen, Hidden Agenda have left the building.
Well, I think it's actually the going out and say, hello Hammersmith, with
the two fingers. Hello Hammersmith.
Yes,
yeah.
There will be a few rock.
Make sure you get the right venue.
But
there you go, going, hi Norwich. Oh, sorry, no, it's not.
Well, that might look really cool. That might look like we're on a tour, actually. If you just did that sort of by mistake.
Where are we tonight?
Yeah, that's right.
And probably I think the limo outside the stage door will be a nice touch.
Yeah. Or maybe a big tour bus, actually. I thought, it'd be nice to drift in a big tour bus.
Tour bus would be great.
And then drift out again, and it can drop me off at Wokingham on the way out, That's,
I like it. Listen, I hope it goes really, really well for you. I'm sure it'll be a great night. As it gets nearer, you get more apprehensive. You think,
yes.
What have we done?
Absolutely.
This is great. And what about costume? Because there'll be a big argument over what you wear at the moment.
We're doing okay, actually. There's it's mainly the girls. I mean, the Hidden Agenda's got two female vocalists, and there's a female sax player in there. So you can imagine I know they're conspiring at the moment.
They're okay. But what are you going to wear? Are you going to wear the gold lame or the leather, or what are you going for?
We'll be wearing something appropriate. We'll sit down at some stage and have a conversation about what we're going to wear. But is
it cool? Is it chic? Is it rock? Is it funk sort of stuff you're going to wear?
I think it'll be somewhere in the cool funk type space. Would do nicely, actually.
Jackets that you'll never wear again.
Almost certainly.
I love it. Well, brave man, Ian, thank you so much for coming in and sharing that. And the best of luck. It's on June the 14th.
Yep.
June the 14th. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. So you sold 600. I'm sure you'll double that and probably, hopefully, get your money back. at least. But it's the
gonna be
crack.
fun.
It's the
yes,
crack, isn't it?
yes.
Brilliant. Good stuff. Hidden Agenda with Ian Penfold on bass. You like the sound of that, at Hammersmith on June the 14th. BBC Radio Berkshire.